you're like an athlete. You're an athlete.
Yeah.
You're in shape, right? You're not going to have a reaction in your body like somebody who doesn't take care of themselves.
Right.
So, I don't believe in emotional intelligence. I think it's useful, but I'm more interested in emotional fitness. Because intelligence is a capability. Fitness is a state of readiness.
Interesting.
If you are fit, you can take that demand right now and you can deal with it. You can deal with that physical stress, that emotional stress. Same thing's true with psychological fitness, emotional fitness, right? So I'm pretty fit. And part of that is not because I'm so smart. Part of it is that I've taught this for decades. I remember I had a woman who came to one of my seminars in I don't know, early 80s probably, and she would run in this room, 5,000 to 10,000 people. I think it was, she went a couple of 10,000 person events, and she would get in this front row, fight her way through there, and she'd jump and go for it. And at one break, she came up to me, I was signing a book for her, and she goes, Mr. Robbins, I've seen you at like 8 of these. She goes, I've seen you like when you're really, I can hear your voice, you're hurting, or you haven't slept. And she goes, you always seem to be so up all the time. How come you're so up? And I said, well, part of it is I attend all these seminars. So I'm teaching it. So there's a fitness of that. But there's also, I've buried 3 fathers and 1 mother, and, that affects your life. I've had a physician look me in the eye and say, you have a tumor in your brain. And so I've had those moments that, when you've had extreme stress and you push your way through it, you build psychological muscle. It's like it takes a lot to knock me off. In the early days, we didn't have $50,000 to keep the doors open. How do we do it? Then I had, graduated to $5 million. Then I graduated to a partner that mine who kind of didn't do things well, and I ended up owning $100 million because I had to take on his debts. $100 million. But when you do all that stuff, now my companies do $5 billion, a year. So you keep expanding what I would call really the circle of the threshold of your influence.
Sure.
Everybody has a threshold of control, and if you get beyond it, you kind of freak out. So it takes a little bit more. I don't have breakdowns. I don't have breakdown. Do I get pissed off or get frustrated or tired? Yeah, but breakdown, honestly, no. When I've had challenging times, I have so many tools. I pull them out. And most of it's like you as an athlete. You don't just physically break down. Right. You take care of yourself. So
you're constantly training that.
I think most people don't train their mind and emotions. It's like I think the most powerful muscles to me are not physical. They're as strong as important as they are. It's like faith is a muscle, courage is a muscle, determination is a muscle, playfulness is a muscle. Passion unexpressed weakens. Faith untested gets smaller. So I'm always, I call it deep practice. I'm always pushing myself to the edge, and pushing yourself to the edge makes you stronger. Well, Sir John Templeton is probably one of the greatest investors in history. People don't know his name. He started out with nothing. He wasn't Sir. He wasn't from the country. He came from the U.S. And he decided that he wanted to understand wealth, and so he saved $10,000, a huge amount of money in those days. And when Hitler invaded Poland, he developed a belief. His belief was, you make your money in times of maximum pessimism. Like if you were around in 2008, 9, you remember what it was like, right? You could have bought, the Sands in Las Vegas, you could have bought their stock for $2.28. Today it's $67. Wow. It's a 3,000% return.
Not bad.
You could have bought Citibank for less than $1, right? So people in those times, he understood that, and so what he did was, and everybody thought the world was going to end, he took $10,000, he bought every stock on the New York Stock Exchange that was $1 or less, including companies everybody thought were going bankrupt. But when things are bad, people think it's going to be bad forever. When things are good, they think it's going to be good forever. And they're always wrong. Life's cyclical. So there's a season for everything. So once we got through World War II and went a few years later, guess what? Those same stocks made him a billionaire. So when I asked him, I said, what's the secret to wealth? His response when he touched me, he goes, you know it, you teach it. I said, what's that? He said, gratitude. And I said, why do you say that? He said, because if you had $1 billion and every day you live pissed off and frustrated, the quality of your life is called pissed off and frustrated. But if you have nothing, but you're euphorically grateful for whatever you have, you're the richest person that you're going to know. He said, so it doesn't matter how much money you got if you don't have gratitude. So I do the same thing, by the way. I have a process I call priming, where I get up every morning, I do mine in the morning, I just radical change to my body, kind of alter my state, and then I do 10 minutes, I never miss, and my first 3.5 minutes is what I'm really grateful for. And I make myself think of at least one of those 3 that's something really simplistic, instead of something giant, the wind on my face, the look in one of my kids' eyes, something of that nature. And then I do 3 minutes of strength and healing, and I do 3 minutes of what I'm going to create my world. And I do that for a minimum of 10 minutes every day, because I believe you have to condition it. You don't just hope that stuff shows up.
Well, I don't know what's a bad joke. For me, it's not a joke, it's just another device to make them see something. Because most people cannot even laugh simply out of sheer joy, you have to tickle them. Even if you tickle them in that, they're judging what's a good joke and a bad joke and getting angry about some joke that they don't like because they think it was attacked, something that they believe in, that they're identified with. It is just a device. It's just a device to make a point. Because if the same thing is told to you in utmost seriousness, you will make a dogma out of it.